Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Dangerous Vegetables Future Card Buddyfight deck profile for Post-Soaring Superior Deity Dragon. After the results of the Folktale deck profile, I was definitely happy with the feedback I got from everybody and starting some Future Card Buddyfight deck profiles on my channel. Wanted to focus on one of the newest decks from the latest set for Future Card Buddyfight, being the Dangerous Vegetables. The whole purpose of the deck being a Danger World deck, focusing on destroying your different Danger Vegetables and also going into your boss monster, which is Strategic Arms Dangerous Vegan Curry, which is an incredibly difficult monster to get over, and then just relying on all the different abilities you have of all the different dangerous vegetables you have in the deck to rely on as well. So like I said, it's a very fun deck. Definitely look into it if you're looking to start the game, and just a easy one to use because it just goes off of destroying different vegetables and getting their abilities depending on which one you destroyed. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So being a Danger World deck, I decided to focus my buddy just for a more budget option. Also, it can be any of the vegetables you run in the deck. I chose Strategic Arms Dangerous Vegan Curry. I usually always go into this card and always have the options to go into this card with this deck, so I focused on this one for my buddy. But like I said, any of the vegetables can be your buddy. You have to put, which we'll get to this card when we speak of for the boss monsters. But for the actual lineup for the smaller vegetable units, first off, I run 4 Colonel Green Pepper. Its call cost is pay 1 gauge. Counter during your turn, call up to 1 dangerous veggie monster from your drop zone other than Colonel Green Pepper by paying its call cost. You may only use this ability once per turn. And when this card attacks and destroys your opponent's monster, you can stand this card. So having that pressure means you can attack with Colonel Green Pepper to all of your opponent's monsters that you know you can destroy, because you'll be able to restand it as well. And also can be used for the Vegan Curry in the Soul, being able to give its abilities to Vegan Curry, being able to withstand it every time it attacks one of your opponent's units as well. So very, very strong as well when it destroys that monster. And the call cost card for this just gives you more and more options in the drop zone for all your different vegetables you run also. I also run 4 Warrant Officer Pumpkin, with this one being the size 2 monster. It gets its size reduced by 1 for each other dangerous veggie monster on the field, so it could potentially become a size 0 for having 2 other dangerous veggies on the field. And when this card is destroyed, drop one of your opponent's gauge. You're able to take away some of your opponent's gauge. With Colonel Pepper being the main focus of the pressure attacks with this deck, you can use Warrant Officer Pumpkin to drop your opponent's gauge very, very early if you call out this card and destroy it with some of your other cards, making it so they basically can have no gauge left if you opened up plenty of the Warrant Officer Pumpkins to use. And like I said, not being able to have to remove it from the field because of size limit when you have other vegetables on the field. So just be careful if your opponent takes out those other vegetables, because if you have this and 2 size 1s and they try and go for it, you'll still be in the size limit, which is one thing to remember also, since you'll be a size 2 and a size 1 still left on the field. And I also run 4 Corporal Potato. With this one, all dangerous veggie monsters on your field get defense plus 5,000. When this card is destroyed, draw 1 card. So having 1,000 defense on its own, but also having other cards like Warrant Officer Pumpkin and also Colonel Pepper having 4,000 shield and 5,000 shield respectively themselves means you can have some pretty big shield, and your opponent will try and go for the Corporal Potato to, obviously get to those other units. But when they do destroy this card, you draw a card. Or even when you destroy it with some of your own abilities, you'll get that draw power as well to rely on. But the shield definitely does come in handy, since it also shares that shield when you go into Vegan Curry for the boss monster once this card is in that soul. And also for the last of the 4 ofs, I run 4 First Lieutenant Eggplant. With this one, all dangerous veggie monsters on your field cannot be rested by your opponent's card effects. And when this card is destroyed, if your opponent has 3 or more hand cards, your opponent chooses and drops a hand card. Early game, once again, if you can start destroying your cards and drop your opponent's hand down, it definitely does come in handy. It's one of the weaker ones in terms of power and critical, but you rely on this card more for the destruction effect and the one fact that it can protect all of your other dangerous veggies from your opponent resting them, and also just having it so you'll be able to have your attacks successfully go through also. And that is it for the 4 ofs. For some of the lower number dangerous veggies, I run 3 Major Onion with this one. During an attack on your opponent's turn, if a dangerous veggie is on your field, call this card from your hand and change the attack target to this card. During your opponent's turn, when this card is destroyed, rest a card in your opponent's field. So when your opponent goes for the first attack, you can redirect the attack if they're going against Vegan Curry. This card being a size 0 and Vegan Curry still being a size 3. You can call this and not be over the size limit, and then obviously redirect the attack of your opponent and rest another one of their units on their field. So I like to run 3 of this card. It's just a good potential card to rely on when you have it in your hand. Other than that, I was debating bringing it up to 4, but I like the number 3. I always consistently find it and usually don't have to rely on this card on the field to put into the soul when I use Vegan Curry. For some of the other lower number ones, I run 2 Colonel Tomato. When this card is destroyed, put the top 2 cards of your deck in your gauge. It builds up gauge, but you can also recall this card out to the field if you need be with Colonel Green Pepper. So I can always, call it out and destroy it again for gauge. All dangerous veggie monsters on your field also get critical +1. So for some of the more stronger ones like Warrant Officer Pumpkin, or even when it just shares the effect with your Vegan Curry when it's in the soul, you'll have that pressure alone with that card also. So very, very useful there with this card. And then for the last of the single veggie cards, I run 1 Captain Asparagus. The critical of all dangerous veggies on your field cannot be reduced. So along with your First Lieutenant Eggplant being able to protect it from being rested, having it so their critical can be reduced is another great option to go with the cards. And when this card is destroyed, drop up to 2 soul cards from a card in your opponent's field. So if you're going up against some big power decks like Agito or Athora, otherwise if they don't have cards that can drop the soul, but you still have some other cards that can potentially drop it, or if they don't have anything that restricts dropping the soul, Asparagus definitely does come in handy. I only run the 1 though because we're very limited on some of the decks that can drop soul, so just having this option available to me when I need it and having 1 more additional different veggie for the impact definitely does help as well. And for the size 3, which I also made my buddy in the deck, I run 3 Strategic Arms Dangerous Vegan Curry. I only run 3 of this card. It's searchable with one of our other spells. It's a size 3, power 20,000, defense 20,000, critical 3. Its call cost is putting 3 dangerous veggie monsters with different card names from your field into your soul and paying 2 gauge. Abilities of this card in the field cannot be nullified by your opponent's card effects, and you cannot take damage by card effects. And this includes Penetrate. This card gets the abilities of all originally size 2 or less dangerous veggies in your soul, and at the start of your turn, gain 10 life. This is a powerhouse of a monster, so once you get on the field, having Penetrate, triple attack, and Soul Guard, and then also having the destruction effects of all the dangerous veggies that are in the soul when it's destroyed, gives you so many bonus options as well. So having this set up very, very early can definitely protect you, and also just set up, you can, dwindle away a lot of your opponent's resources as well. So, like I said, definitely love it. It's my buddy. I can almost always get it set up every game. Just having that power ready to go definitely does make it the true boss monster of the deck. For my weapon for the deck, I run 4 Pressure Cooker Gourmet Atsuroyoku. With this one, both counter skills. You may destroy a dangerous veggie monster on your field. If you do, draw a card. You may only use this ability once per turn, but destroying a danger veggie means you'll get that ability along with the draw. So very, very useful there. And also choose a dangerous veggie on your field. You may put this card from your field into the drop zone. If you do for this turn, the next time the chosen card be destroyed, it remains on the field. So more protection for some of our boss monsters like Vegan Curry. Along with Vegan Curry, it's also searchable with one of our spells. So very, very useful there as well. And then now, moving on to the spells, I run 4 It's So Delicious. For its cast cost, you destroy a dangerous veggie monster on your field, and counter, you gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. You may only cast It's So Delicious once per turn, but it's a counter, so you can even use it during your opponent's turn, destroying one of your dangerous veggies, getting the skill when it's destroyed, but also giving yourself 2 life and draw 2 cards. It's very, very protective. It can save you from impacts when your life is too low. Having that counter skill, it can just, like I said, mess with your opponents when they're trying to avoid destroying veggies, and having it used once on your turn, then being able to use it again next turn definitely helps, and definitely needed at 4 of in the deck. I also run 4 Farm Fresh. This is your searcher for all the danger veggies. With this one, you may only cast this card if a dangerous veggie is on your field. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put up to any number of dangerous veggie monsters with different card names from them into your hand, put the rest into your gauge. You only cast Farm Fresh once per turn, but the setup, since you need 3 different veggies for vegan curry, very, very useful with this card. If you can search out vegan curry and your item first, it just clears the way for more veggies to be revealed with this card. So another 4 up for sure. You can easily set up 1 veggie on the field and then search out the rest you need, since I almost always open up at least 1 and then also Farm Fresh. And I also run 4 It's the Season for Fresh Veggie. Its cast cost is paying 2 life, which is very, very useful since it doesn't open and eat up our gauge. You put up to 1 size 3 dangerous veggie and up to 1 dangerous veggie item from your deck into your hand. Shuffle your deck. You only cast It's the Season for Fresh Veggie once per turn. But this searches out your item, which we run 4 of, so you always have it to use. And since you have to get rid of it to use, its second effect most of the time. And vegan curry, having that search definitely does come in handy. I run the 4 of this card. If you already have the setup, you can easily charge another one of this copy card for that play, but relying on that definitely does come in handy. For some of the more generic Danger World cards, I also run 2 Members Only Club Deity. With this one, it is a set card on the field. At the start of your opponent's main phase, choose and use one of the following 2. Your opponent chooses a card from their hand, drops it, and then you draw a hand card. So giving you draw power and then giving your opponent a discard definitely can help to ruin their setup. You may only set 1 Members Deity once per turn. You can only set 1 on the field also, but also drop 1 of your opponent's gauge and put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge. You can either set up the gauge at the start or just, set up your gauge and then ruin theirs as well, or discard their hand cards. Very, very useful for sure along with this card. And I run 2 Demon Slay Fear Press. This is the new promo card from set 6. It's counter, destroy a monster on your field. If you do, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and gain 1 life and draw a card. You may only cast Demon Slay Fear Press once per turn. I was potentially considering running 4 of this card. If I were to, I would probably take out the next card since it's just a generic, but still very, very useful for the destruction of your danger veggies and also setting up your gauge and just going through the deck very much quicker. And I also run the 2 Time Sale just for more draw power, and you can have plenty of gauge and life to use with this card also. But if you wanted to run 2 additional Fear Press, you can take out these 2 for the last 3rd and 4th copy of that. And lastly, I run 3 of the Impact, which is Must Eat Veggie Hater Annihilation Cannon. You may only cast this card if your opponent's life is 5 or less. And originally size 3 dangerous veggie is on your field. You pay 2 gauge, deal 1 damage to your opponent for each dangerous veggie monster with a different card name in your drop zone. So we have plenty of different named dangerous veggies, so you can hit for some big damage, and I must always have the size 3 on the field set up, which is the main focus for this Impact anyway, to be used. So once you set this up, if you can deal 7 damage, even if your opponent tries to heal some damage away, they can still take them out when they're at least at 5 or less, gaining some life, or at least hit them for a big number for you to finish off again next turn. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, let me all know what you think of the future card Buddyfight deck profiles. Definitely looking to do more on the channel if you all want to see more. But until then, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.